Order in the court. We will now proceed with the testimony of Mr. Willard Smith. Ms. Carter, you may begin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Smith, can you please state your full name and occupation for the record?
Willard Carroll Smith II. I'm an actor, producer, and musician.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. You're here today to provide testimony regarding your interactions with the defendant, Mr. Sean Combs, also known as P. Diddy. Can you confirm that you've known the defendant for over 2 decades?
Yeah, I've known Sean since the early 90s. We came up in the industry around the same time, crossed paths at events, award shows, the whole scene.
Can you describe the nature of your relationship with Mr. Combs over the years?
It was complicated. Early on, it was friendly, competitive in that way artists are, but respectful. We'd see each other at parties, clubs, industry stuff. But over time, things shifted. I started seeing sides of Sean that made me uneasy. Sides that, frankly, I wish I'd called out sooner.
Objection, Your Honor. The witness is offering vague, prejudicial statements without specificity.
Sustained. Mr. Smith, please stick to specific events and facts in your testimony.
My apologies, Your Honor. I'll get to it.
Mr. Smith, let's focus on a specific incident. Can you tell the court about an event you attended at Mr. Combs' residence in Los Angeles in the summer of 2010?
Yeah, I remember that night. It was one of Sean's infamous parties at his Holmby Hills mansion. Big event, A-list crowd, music blaring, champagne flowing. I was there with my wife, Jada. We'd been invited through mutual friends, and at first it felt like just another industry party. But as the night went on, things got dark.
Can you elaborate on what you mean by dark?
I saw things that didn't sit right with me. Sean had this private area roped off like a VIP section, but it wasn't just for celebrities. There were young women, some of them looked barely legal, being escorted in and out by his security. I overheard one of them, a girl who couldn't have been older than 19, crying in a hallway. She was saying she didn't want to be there, that she'd been promised a modeling gig but was pressured to do things she wasn't comfortable with. I tried to step in, ask her if she needed help, but one of Sean's guys swooped in, told me it was handled, and ushered her away.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay. The witness is recounting a conversation he allegedly overheard without corroboration.
Your Honor, Mr. Smith is testifying to what he personally observed and heard, which is admissible as it pertains to his perception of the events and the defendant's conduct.
Overruled. The witness may continue, but please focus on what you directly observed, Mr. Smith.
I saw Sean in that private area later that night, and he was different. He wasn't the charming guy you see on TV. He was controlling, barking orders at his staff, making sure certain people, mostly young women, stayed close. I saw him hand one of them a drink and she looked nervous, like she didn't want to take it. I don't know what was in it, but the way he was acting, the way he was manipulating the vibe in that room, it felt predatory.
Did you confront Mr. Combs about what you observed?
I didn't confront him directly that night. I was caught off guard and Jada and I left early. But a few weeks later, I called him. I told him what I saw didn't sit right with me, that it wasn't cool how those girls were being treated. He laughed it off, said I was overreacting, that it was just party vibes. But his tone, it was cold, dismissive, like he knew exactly what he was doing and didn't care who saw.
Mr. Smith, you've made serious allegations about Mr. Combs' behavior. Can you provide another specific instance that supports your concerns?
Yeah, there was another time in 2015 at a music festival after-party in Miami. Sean was hosting it at a private yacht. I was there to support a friend performing, but I noticed the same pattern. Young women, some of them looking out of place, being funneled into private cabins below deck. I saw Sean's team, his security, his assistants, making sure only certain people got access. One of the girls, she came up to me, recognized me, and whispered that she was scared, that she'd been told she'd meet important people, but was being pressured to do things she didn't sign up for. I gave her my security guy's number, told her to call if she needed to get out. I don't know what happened to her after that, and it haunts me.
Objection, Your Honor. This is more hearsay and the witness is speculating about events he admits he has no further knowledge of.
Your Honor, Mr. Smith is testifying to his direct observations and interactions, which are relevant to establishing a pattern of behavior by the defendant.
Overruled, but Mr. Smith, please refrain from speculating about outcomes you cannot confirm.
I understand, Your Honor. I'm just telling you what I saw, what I felt. It wasn't just one night, it was a pattern. Every time I was around Sean at these events, there was this undercurrent, this control he had over people, especially vulnerable women. He'd use his power, his money, his influence to make them feel like they had to comply.
Mr. Smith, you mentioned a pattern. Can you describe one more incident that stands out in your memory?
The worst was in 2018 at a charity gala in New York. Sean was one of the hosts and I was there to present an award. After the main event, he invited a small group to an after-party at a penthouse suite. I went thinking it'd be a low-key networking thing, but it wasn't. There was this young singer, talented kid, maybe 22, just starting out. Sean was all over her, promising her a record deal, saying he'd introduce her to the right people. But I saw how he was looking at her, how he was touching her arm, her back, making her uncomfortable. Later, I overheard him tell her she needed to prove her loyalty if she wanted his help. I stepped in that time, told her she didn't need to do anything she wasn't comfortable with. Sean pulled me aside after, got in my face, told me to mind my business, that I didn't understand how the game worked.
And how did you respond to Mr. Combs' confrontation?
I told him the game didn't have to work like that. That exploiting people, especially young women trying to make it in the industry, was wrong. He just smirked like he was untouchable. That's when I knew I couldn't stay silent anymore. I started talking to people in the industry, quietly trying to warn others about what I'd seen. That's why I'm here today.
Your Honor, I'd like to cross-examine the witness. Mr. Smith, you've painted a very dramatic picture here. But let's be clear, you're an actor, a performer known for your charisma and storytelling. Isn't it possible you're exaggerating these events for effect?
I'm not here to perform, Mr. Agnifilo. I'm here to tell the truth. What I saw wasn't a script, it was real. Those women were real, their fear was real.
You mentioned a pattern of behavior, yet you've provided no concrete evidence, no names, no dates beyond vague years, no corroborating witnesses. Why should this court believe your uncorroborated stories?
I'm not the only one who saw these things. Ask anyone who's been to one of Sean's parties. Ask the staff, the security, the women who were there. I'm not here to throw out names and ruin lives. I'm here to say what I saw, what I know. If you want evidence, dig into his circle. It's all there.
So you're asking the court to take your word, a celebrity with a history of public feuds over my clients? You've had your own controversies, Mr. Smith. Isn't this testimony just a way to settle old scores?
This ain't about me, Mark. This ain't about old beefs or headlines. This is about right and wrong. I've made mistakes, sure, but I've never preyed on vulnerable people. I've never used my power to hurt anyone. Can your client say the same?
You claim you saw my client behave inappropriately, yet you continued to attend his events over the years. Why didn't you report these alleged incidents to the authorities at the time?
That's the question I ask myself every day. I should have done more. I should have spoken up sooner, but I was caught up in the industry, in the culture. You don't want to be the guy who rocks the boat, especially when you're not sure who's got your back. But I'm here now, and I'm not staying silent anymore.
Very well. Mr. Smith, you may step down, but you remain under oath and subject to recall. We'll take a 15-minute recess.